La voz de los latinos en América. Estamos transmitiendo desde hermosa 1470 AM y para todo el mundo a través de cafeconlecherradio.com. Les habla Lilia Galindo, me acompaña el juez retirado de LaMon. Good morning.
Good morning. How is the day going for you? It's kind of chilly.
Yeah, but we are happy because maybe we are thinking that maybe immigration reform is going to be soon with us. I am so optimistic that I believe that the results of the election with the senator in Georgia could make possible an immigration reform.
That would be a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. What is the topic for today?
Today we want to talk about priorities. It's very important to be able to arrange your priorities because there are so many things today that demand our time, our attention, our action. More things to do than we can do in 24 hours. And because there are more things that we can do in a 24-hour day, we've got to set priorities so we know which one to do and how much time to spend doing it.
El día de hoy vamos a hablar de las prioridades y eso es muy importante porque en esta vida diaria tenemos muchísimas demandas de actividades que tenemos que atender, muchas opciones y es importante entonces que para completar las que nos beneficien tengamos que establecer prioridades.
Last week we talked about doing things that are meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
So meaningfulness should be the foundation of how you set your priorities. So the question is this meaningful? Should I spend my time doing this because it is meaningful to me?
La semana pasada hablamos de lo que significaba la importancia de las acciones que realizamos, la importancia que tienen para nosotros, si son significativas o no. Y dice, entonces, de esta manera vamos a decidir nuestras prioridades. Cuando tenemos una actividad, tenemos que preguntarnos, ¿es esta significante, es importante en realidad gastar mi tiempo en ella?
Because there are a lot of things that we could be involved in that are trivial, that are not very meaningful. So we've got to make that decision. And then we look at opportunity. That's the other thing to look at in setting your priorities. Will I have an opportunity to do it later? If so, I can rearrange my priorities. But if I don't have an opportunity to do it later, I have to take the opportunity now. Then you have to set that as a high priority to do it now.
Bueno, dice, hay muchísimas cosas que van a aparecer en nuestra agenda que muchas de ellas son triviales y no tienen significado importante. Y entonces dice, pero también va a haber oportunidades que pueda yo atender más tarde. Tienes que analizar entonces qué es lo que tienes que hacer, qué es urgente e importante.
So, for example, raising children, that has to take a high priority because you only have one opportunity to raise the children. Once they're born, you got to take care of it now. You can't say, well, they're here, but I'll teach them later. I got some other things I want to do, so I'll wait another 15 years before I teach them. No. When they're here, when they get here, you've got to teach them now. That's a very high priority once you have children involved in your life.
Bueno, entonces vamos a tener que analizar las actividades que tenemos. Dice, por ejemplo, el criar a tus hijos, dice, ¿verdad? Bueno, pues ese es algo que requiere atención inmediata. Eso no lo vas a poder posponer, no vas a poder decir, bueno, pues en 15 años los atiendo. Eso es una prioridad número 1 que vas a atender desde el primer día.
I remember when I was writing my first book in the mid-90s, I made a commitment that First thing I'll do when I get up in the morning, I'll sit down and I'll write for an hour. That'll be the very first thing I do. And it was going well most of the time. But one morning, my 3-year-old daughter woke up early, and when it was time for me to sit down and write, she wanted me to hold her and rock her back to sleep. Well, I could have said, no, 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 I can't do that. I've got to write. My commitment is to write. But if I did that, when would I spend time with my daughter? I mean, if she needs it now, I've got to give it to her now because one day she'll be too old for me to hold her and rock her. So I set that aside. I set writing aside so I can give the attention to the little girl.
Dice, bueno, entonces tenemos que fijarnos prioridades, ¿ah? Dice, por ejemplo, cuando decidí escribir mi primer libro, hice el compromiso de que todas las mañanas cuando me levantara iba yo a destinar 1 hora cada día a escribir mi libro, dice, y lo hice muy bien por varios días hasta que un día mi hija, que tenía 3 años, pues decidió que quería que la arrullara para que volviera a dormir y entonces ya no me permitió atender esa actividad que había yo programado. Dice, claro, si no abrazo a mi hija ahora que me está pidiendo, que lo está necesitando, pues cuando lo voy a hacer, ¿eh? Ya cuando sea grande ya no me va a necesitar. So after you did that, did you go to write your book or you have to go to work?
I actually did write later on that day. I just, even though my decision was it will be the first thing that I do, I had to change that for that particular day.
Bueno, pero le preguntaba si de todos modos había continuado con su proyecto. Dice, por supuesto, mi propósito era hacerlo tan pronto como me levantara, pero ese día, pues nomás lo cambié de hora, pero todavía lo hice.
Now, I still wrote that day because I had set another priority. That particular year, I set a priority to finish my book before the end of the year. So I had to keep that priority also. Sometimes circumstances come up and we have to rearrange our priorities.
Dice, bueno, entonces, la cuestión con el libro, dice, es que yo me había propuesto como prioridad terminar el libro antes de que terminara el año. Y así es que en ese momento lo que hice fue estar comprometido con ese compromiso y solamente posponerlo en cosas como lo de la hija. So,
now the other thing that helps us set our priorities is what I will call essential things. What are essential? For example, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Then it was essential for me to go to law school. And it was essential for me to take and pass the bar exam. I had to do those things. So if I want to be a lawyer, there's some things that have to come before that. Go to college and get a degree, go to law school, take the bar exam. So sometimes we make a decision, but there's some preliminary things that we have to do in order to get to the ultimate goal that we want to reach.
Bueno, en esto de las prioridades, dice, por ejemplo, va a haber prioridades esenciales, cosas que tienes que hacer para completar tu meta. Dice, por ejemplo, cuando decidí convertirme en un abogado, pues entonces me vi con el compromiso de ir a la universidad para estudiar para abogado y luego de eso tomar el examen para pasar y poder ejercer como abogado. Esas son prioridades esenciales que se requieren cuando tú tienes una meta.
And then the other thing that helps us set our priorities are deadlines. Sometimes there are things that you don't have any control over. The deadline is there. The government makes April 15th the deadline to file your taxes. And when I was working as a judge, deadlines were the key things. We had to write decisions, but the law said we had to get the decision out within 90 days from the time the person asked for the decision. So we had to meet those deadlines all the time. So you set your priorities based on a deadline. You know, if I have something that's due today, I have to do it today and not spend time doing the thing that is due next Monday. I can wait and do that one later.
Ok, dentro de las prioridades tenemos que también contar cuando tenemos una fecha límite para presentar o para hacer alguna actividad. Dice, por ejemplo, cuando era yo juez, dice, pues entonces tenía yo que hacer las decisiones dentro de lo que establecía la ley, que eran 90 días de tiempo después de que se había presentado el problema al juez. Entonces yo tenía la obligación de presentar estas decisiones dentro de los 90 días. Dice, así es que cuando fijes tus prioridades vas a tener que decir, ok, esta prioridad, esta actividad requiere, tengo 3 meses para completarla, pero esta otra la tengo que hacer antes de 10 días o el día de hoy. Entonces eso te va a hacer que puedas fijar tus prioridades como debe de ser.
So we all have the same amount of time each day. We all have 24 hours. So if you have a situation in which someone tells you, oh, I didn't do it because I didn't have time, they're actually saying to you, I didn't do it because it wasn't one of my high priorities. I wanted to do some other things instead of that. Keep in mind, setting your priorities is what will determine what your success will be.
Dice, algunas personas, dice, todos tenemos 24 horas, ¿verdad? Durante el día, pero unas personas te dicen, oh, no hice lo que me pediste porque no tuve tiempo. Lo que pasa es que esa persona seguramente tuvo otras actividades que les concedió más alta prioridad y por eso no completó la tarea. Okay, Dana, thank you so much. Maybe in next occasion we can talk about how to organize priorities or something, because sometimes there are so many things and you don't know how to organize yourself.
All right, let's put that on the schedule for next week.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Hasta la vista. Bye bye. Gracias amigos por haber estado con nosotros.